All right. Hey, classy motherfuckers. Welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to explore what it means as a man to feel fully seen, appreciated, and adored by women. The last episode was talking about, do I adore, love, and appreciate women? And this conversation about, do I feel that from women? And we're going to encapsulate feeling seen, appreciated, and adored by women by just using the word loved. Do I feel loved by women? So, for the man listening right now, as we start to dive in, I invite you to take a moment and check in on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is I don't feel that at all from women. I feel despised by women. To 10, I feel totally seen, adored, appreciated, loved by women. Where are you at personally? And from there, we've got some distinctions that we're just going to dive in a bit deeper into what it means to feel loved by women and send you away with some self inquiry to help you expand in this area.
Absolutely. The whole and what we want to talk about is not, do I feel like women are turned on by me? So take this away from the first place, which is, you know, just sex.
Mm-hmm.
Do women think I'm sexy is a different topic for today than today's topic. And let's, yeah, look into the realm of what it means to be loved, feel loved by women. And, women can, as a woman who loves a lot of people, taking this conversation completely out of only romantic love, too. I love and adore men. I,
Yeah.
I don't have to be sexually attracted to them. I don't have to be interested in having a relationship with them. I just don't have to be interested in attaching to them in any way. But just in general, I freaking love men.
Yeah.
I love so many things that make them men. I like the fact that they walk different. I like the fact that their voices are different. I like the fact that they have stubble. Just so many ways that men are man. Like when men are hanging, the guys are hanging, just the things that they do. That's awesome. They are definitely men. And I absolutely love that.
And I know that for me, this is one of the reasons that I feel a connection with you is because you genuinely embody that love for men. Even as you say that, there's some part inside of me softens. And it's like there's this narrative in a lot of our culture that men are supposed to be told to, especially in the wake of Me Too. And, there's been a lot of, dudes have done some harmful things in the world. There's very real stuff that we need to look at and be honest. And at the same time, I'm such a stand that at the core of men, you look at a little baby boy, does that baby boy come out of the womb as a person who does harmful things? Maybe in a very few cases, there's some wiring or something like
Yeah.
that. But like men are violently trained to close our hearts and to turn off our feeling bodies and to basically numb out to the world in all kinds of different ways. And then there's this cultural narrative that we just need to get our shit together and man the fuck up, which is the narrative that we're ostensibly trying to get away from in the first place. And that energy of, no, wait, I just love and adore and appreciate you simply because you're a man is one of the most healing balms that I've ever experienced in my life. And I guess I attract women like that because that's the,
Well, you're
love
open
or
to it. So you're
yeah.
open to it too. So it's easy to love you from a place of you being a man because you're open to receiving that. You don't make it anything. Like I can love you and think you're super sexy and all these other things about it, but you're not in desperation of grabbing onto that and making it be something. You actually have the capability of receiving women's love.
And I would say that that's, I haven't thought about this part specifically, but I would say that that's true because for whatever reason, some part of me has it, despite all of the shame and all of the baggage that I've taken on around my masculinity over my life, it's like there's some part that has always known that that's not how it's supposed to be. So there has always been some core part of me that has known that no, I deserve deep level of respect. I deserve to be worshiped by women just in the same way as I want to
Yeah.
learn how to more deeply worship women for how incredible they are in all the ways.
And I do want to take a moment and say I'm not I love men because I've never had horrible things happen to me. I have a book about all of the horrible trauma that I've suffered at wounded men's hands, and I say that wounded men's hands, not men's hands, but actually these particular men who were wounded and acted out in certain ways. They don't represent to me what most men are like or how most men operate. It's still a small fraction of the men that I've interacted with in workshops and all over the world, strangers that have helped me, the real beauty of men wanting to protect. When I did the digital nomad stuff, I lived on the street in my RV, and I'm a single woman by myself, quote unquote, living on the street. My ride was pretty sweet, but it's still, right? I'm out there. I got a thin little door protecting me from the world. And all of these men, some homeless, some, living in their ride because of why I was, but all these different types of men. I was surrounded by like 35 regular dudes. And every single one of them wanted to protect me, to make sure I was okay. They watched out for me. They were available for anything. And it didn't even, I mean, wherever they were coming from, it's not that they wanted sex from me. Maybe some did, but it really was a collective kind of desire for them to provide that protection and that care. And I have found more men in my life to be so kind and so warm and so willing to laugh and have a good time and just be in that space than not. So I love men, absolutely.
And what you're talking about right there is seeing the goodness in men, a woman who sees the goodness in men. And you're able to separate wounded men did harmful things from men are
Yeah.
wounded and harmful.
Yeah, and not
And
all wounded men do harmful things. So they're a very
yep,
particular set of
yep,
men. There's plenty of wounded men who are working to do their best and stuff and don't do harm to people. I mean, it's a small, small minority of men.
yeah. And that's a conflation that a lot of women make in our world. And that's a conflation that a lot of men make also. There's, again, like one of the ways I talked about the ways that we're trained violently, which doesn't mean physically. It's that we're trained emotionally out of our goodness. I would call that violent. And a lot of men end up making that conflation too. Certainly a lot of the men that I work with get the message that our masculinity is harmful or
Yeah, you're
inherently
innately
harmful or bad. And yeah,
right. Yeah,
um,
that's your preset. Your default is your violent, mean, angry, dangerous people. And
yeah,
that desire to be dangerous and edgy is different than you are dangerous.
yeah,
I tell people I'm one of the most was it safe, dangerous people they'll ever know.
yeah, yeah,
You know? So to receive women's love, though, so I work with a lot of guys who they don't acknowledge they you might be one of those guys right now listening who says, I don't know that women love me.
yeah,
You may be being loved by women and you just absolutely have no way to bring that in. You're taking everything through your head, so you're not even seeing it, or you're rejecting it because they're not sexy and you don't want to have a relationship with them,
yeah.
but you're missing all the rest of it. the
And that still is all because you're running some narrative inside of your head about what are you making up about women.
yeah,
um, and
yeah.
you're gonna find women who match that narrative, whether or not they match that narrative.
Right, you're gonna make them match that narrative.
Yeah, gonna and like this is the funny place too is we're so again, like most of the guys, many of the guys that I work with are so afraid of being that guy, but then here we are being like, I'm gonna I'm fuck what you think, fuck what you feel, I'm gonna force you into my narrative here.
Right, exactly. So I think if we think about, if we take love out of the container of love means a commitment, right? To love somebody means that you either want to have sex with them or you're going to marry them or they're whatever, right? In the man world relationship. If we take love out of that container, what would that be like? Like to just love people. For, for me as a woman, the ability, when a man receives my love, first of all, let me tell you how freaking cool that is. I just want you to know that here I am going about my life, and here's some dude I run into, and whatever it is. When I had my 57 Mercury Monterey, that was like the man magnet. That thing broke down, the hood was up, every man on the planet was looking inside of it. Now, none of them knew what to do. Half of them didn't know what to do, but
They
they
wanted to
showed
help.
they showed up, right? And so
Yeah.
here I am feeling like, oh my God, I love you guys so much. And I might even actually, so I'm very vocal. I'll even say something like, oh my God, I just love that so much. Thank you. I love you for showing up. Now, some guys in different countries, different cultures, they're all like, yes, that's part of their culture. That's awesome. That's accepted. It's an exchange in the moment. They feel it, they exchange it. And then it's like, yay. And, off you go. Right. I noticed in Western culture, especially in America, that is not so the case. Now they're wondering, what do you want from me? What do you want? This mistrust shows up.
From the men when you give them that kind of
Yeah.
appreciation. Mm.
Yeah. Like, hey, no, old lady, fat lady, I don't want to have sex with you. That's not what I
Well,
just said.
yeah, yeah, and that does just speak to the distortions that exist in our culture around sex and conflations between sex and love and just appreciation
Yeah.
and there's a distinction we were talking about before we hit the record button that I think would be good to bring in right now around um, creating one framework for love. There's a lot of different ways that love could be defined, but one way that works well for me is that I'm either being received in my leadership, what I'm providing, what I'm giving, what I'm offering is being received, or I'm allowing that from somebody else. Somebody else is providing love, support, empathy, leadership, holding, and I'm available to receive that.
So
And
you feel loved when?
yeah, I mean, for me personally, and I can easily give examples on both. So for me, I'll talk about with my woman. I feel loved when she surrenders her body to me. I feel loved when she trusts me to um, drive to the right place in the car without correcting me, which is something that we're still working on. I feel loved when she lets me make food for her. I feel loved when she lets me pleasure her body.
So
And
it's
then,
trust.
yes, yes, she trusts me. Um, hopefully, and on the other end of it, I feel loved when she holds me in my emotional mess, which I'm a very emotional person. I feel loved when she gives me words of appreciation and just appreciates me for all the doing and the leading. I feel loved um, when she pleasures me sexually, and when she wants to just give to me and have me receive.
Yeah, so those are great distinctions, and they're different places in your body. Like love in the center of your chest, love, that's that place where you're being nurtured by somebody.
Yeah,
When somebody, you're allowing the nurturing, somebody's bringing you into the nurturing, and they're,
yeah,
whatever that looks like to you, whether that's somebody rubbing your shoulders or your feet, somebody giving to you sexually, somebody, when some men in the couples work that I do, they'll answer when the I feel loved. I feel loved when usually there's a piece of trust, what you're talking about, right? And there's that other piece where when she provides safety for me to not always have to lead.
hmm hmm
So,
yeah, um, yeah. Because I love leading. I like doing it a lot of the time in all of the facets of our relationship, and I need a moment sometimes.
yeah, well, it's not sustainable to
Yeah.
be in one regard all the time. Is typically, it's not really emotionally fulfilling to remain static. it's everything in nature has that ebb and flow and that balance and give. And so even if you're 99.9% in the lead, there are times when you just don't want to have to make all those freaking decisions, or you need a moment, like you said, to just like, can I just be safe in the world?
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah. And everybody's constituted differently. Everybody's got that balance of how much they want to lead versus follow. And like you're saying, even for the guy who's 99.9%, number one, my bets are on that that's although it serves really well in many situations, that is also a form of protection for him, because betting money that that man has a really hard time letting himself just fall apart
Yeah.
with his in different situations, just let the feelings move through so he can get grounded in himself again. And yeah,
And he's
there's just
probably, and I'll tell you what, look, I get it that many men want that place of love, that one place of love, the trust for sure, and that other place of love to be nurtured and to be given to. And I get it that a lot of women do not
mhm,
know how to provide that space without either A, being a mother.
mhm,
So nothing's like a turnoff like when your woman is trying to love you like she would love her child.
mhm,
Which is nurture your potential, help course correct you. There's a lot of ways to nurture as a mother that don't really come across very well in relationships. Um, and then if you do, when your woman's like, oh, but I want you to share with me and talk to me vulnerably and give me your emotions, and then you do that and she freaks the fuck out and, emasculates you or says, gets scared that because you had that moment, now you can't keep it together in life at all. This is like what a lot of women talk about too, and there's no safety. They're not loving you when it's only because you lead.
yeah. And in both cases, what I actually hear from you is that that man is wanting some what I would call masculine containment from a woman. He's just wanting presence. He doesn't want her to come smother him and totally caretake him. And he doesn't want her to spaz out either when he is honest. He just wants her to be steady for a moment so that he can have a moment.
Yeah, yeah. And I do believe, this definitely can get caught up into the what my mom didn't give me. Now I'm looking for that from my romantic partner, and you can get that parental entanglement into romantic relationships, which for another podcast create a lot of problems
Yeah.
that people think is served by polarity when it's not. It's an intrinsic, deeper problem than that. But when a man lets me love him, I can tell you that it fills a place in me that even like loving him sexually, get or giving him a massage, or the fact that he's willing to receive my love gives that endlessly awesome flow of love that I have a place to land and
Hmm.
to make an impact
Hmm.
and to bring us together. And
Hmm.
so depriving me of that, or a woman of that, is kind of sad. It
Yeah.
doesn't really give the relationship the whole texture that it really could.
Yeah. And it's interesting how the conversation started out with, do I feel adored, respected,
Yeah.
appreciated by women? But so much of the conversation is about the man. Am I available to that? Because
Right.
of course that's how we create our worlds.
Right. So if you're thinking about that, do I feel loved, when you're like, no, one somebody said the other day that was so funny, if you want to be liked, be likable. Well, that's actually true. It's like, if you want to be liked, there's some likability qualities. The same with love. If you want to receive that love, if you want to feel that love, you've definitely got to take some time and be open to it. I
Yeah.
mean, it could be all around you, and if you're not seeing it, you're not
I,
open to
I,
it.
I think that it is all around you.
I'm pretty sure.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. And so what, I always like to say, here's the tip of the day, or things to take and reflect upon, would be answer this, write this, take a pen and paper and actually write down. It's better that you do it with a pen and paper, by the way, than your computer, just how it's wired into the brain. But um, just write 5, I feel loved by my partner when. So it's just 5 of those. I feel loved by my partner when, insert thing here. I feel loved by my partner when, insert the thing here. Now, if that's hard for you, that's your first indication that there may be love all around you that you are just you're just not seeing, or you're
Mhm.
just not there. And if you have particular ways you feel loved and you don't know how to express that, you feel that love come in, it's really difficult to have help somebody else be successful in your relationship by showing you those things that mean
One of
something to you.
one of the things that my woman told me numerous times, especially earlier on in our relationship, is how easy I would literally make requests. Even just this morning, I said I'm feeling a little bit needy around, you know, sexual acts of service. And literally just last night, I said, "Would you be willing to appreciate me for a few moments?" And she has reflected numerous times how easy I make it for her to love her because I fucking ask her.
Well, that's setting up yourself and your relationship for success.
Exactly.
Absolutely, because nobody reads minds, even if they think they do, and they may not know it in the moment. And I think that is hella hot too. By the way,
And
just
and are there places where I want her to read my mind and I feel like I collapse when she does, I want to collapse when she doesn't do that thing. Yes, totally. And
that's
there's my work right there. And yeah. But yes, going back to the questions to journal about, or yeah, I would invite the guy to journal about them. Also connecting with how different forms of love, different love languages, basically, which might be the traditional 5 love languages, but also, like we were talking about earlier, I feel loved when my woman follows. I also feel loved when my woman loves me. And it's like there's a giving of love when she lets me lead. And then there's also a quality of giving of love when she, leads me or holds me.
yeah, when she holds that space,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love that. I think you can feel it. We talked about you can feel it in two different places of your body. I always think of when you're feeling that love space that's kind of chest connected, where you want a soft place to land, where you want to be held, where you need to be able to be in an emotional space. Um, that nurturing, that level of nurture, feels in a different place than the other part, which is right below it in the belly, which is more of the trust. I feel loved when I'm trusted. I feel loved. And so, thinking about where you might feel those things in your body, if you can check into that, it's always nice because then it gives you a moment when you have a need and you maybe are trying to think about it, that maybe if you dropped into your body and go, oh, I'm feeling it in my chest, you might know that right then you need the nurturing part of love. And if you're feeling it in your belly, you might need then to know that you're not feeling trusted. And that might be something to bring up.
Gotcha.
So, two great places to be.
Yeah. We will leave you with that. Feel free to leave any questions or comments in the comments. And even if you want to share the outcomes of your journaling your inquiry into the questions of what's the specific question again, how you gave it to them?
I feel loved when.
Yes. Would love to see your answers to that prompt in the comments as well. We will talk to you really soon. Thanks for being with us.
Bye.